Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn. I'm joined across the screen by my best good buddy, Mr. Nick Miller. Nick, it's our first recording of 2024. Happy New Year. Got a great episode coming up today.
Yes.
Happy New Year. What have you been up to? I know there's some new and exciting things in your world.
Man. Well, so over Christmas, we promised my children, that we were going to get a new puppy. And so as of recording this just a couple of days ago, we got that little girl. She is a mini golden doodle, and she weighs like 5 pounds right now, 8 weeks old. So cute, so fluffy. Just kind of want.
That's her right there on the screen. We can see her on the screen if you're watching on YouTube.
We'll throw her up on the screen so you can see her. Her name is Junie Rocket. You know, when you have two kids, agreeing on something like a name can be difficult. So my daughter Piper picked her first name Junie, and Maddox really, really wanted to name the dog Rocket Ship. So he conceded to a middle name of Rocket. So it has nothing to do with Rocket Raccoon, which you would think it has to do with, but no, he just thought that Rocket Ship was a cool name, which I can't disagree with.
It is a cool name. The dog is adorable. I got to meet her the first time a couple days ago on Zoom. So you're in the middle of all that. I hope your Christmas went well. We're in a new year, Nick. It's a lot of. I enjoy this time of year. What are you making that face for?
Well, I was just, you asked me how I was doing. What about you? Like, I want to be able. How are you?
Yeah.
What's good in your world?
So I haven't talked about it a lot on the podcast because I don't say the word pod because ew. But
spoilers to all you listeners out there. Privately, when John and I are in conversation, he says pod all the time. Like
that's
how
not
he refers to
accurate.
Pod all
that
the
is
time.
Incorrect. I do not. I am turning 40 this year, so I'm not allowed.
You are.
But my wife, Heather, and I started a renovation project on our kitchen about a year ago. Completely gutted it, brand new, custom everything, kitchen of her dreams. That finished like 2 weeks before Christmas. And so that is off my plate, no pun intended, because of kitchens. But been working on that, took some time off. We recorded some episodes early. We've been recording some little bonus 5 to 10 minute episodes that are starting to be released. But January is a really, the calendar year is over. For us here, especially in the States, the wedding season's a little slower typically. So it just kind of works for kind of this refresh, taking a couple of weeks to unplug and then come back strong at the beginning of January. So as we're recording this, it's, the second week of January. We're releasing this next week. You'll hear it while we're out of town. But Nick, I've been doing really well, and I'd love for you to kind of talk about where we're going. What are you going to be doing?
So whenever this episode drops, John and I will be in person together with our How to Film Weddings team and 80 of our closest friends from Mastermind 2023. We have our retreat at the beginning of the following year. So we are in Scottsdale, Arizona right now at our Mastermind Retreat, just hanging out with each other, learning, being inspired, I don't know, helping each other out, just hanging out, having a good time. It's, the culmination of an entire year's hard work. Lots of fun, lots of hangs, lots of encouragement. Anyway, I am really, really excited to be there. I know you're excited to be there. We have spent the last few months like really, really working hard. John especially. I mean, I've done some stuff, but John has really put in a lot of time and energy, and Austin on our team and Jessica on our team have put in a lot of energy to get this thing up and running. Our planner that we hired out there in Scottsdale has done a phenomenal job putting it all together. And if you would like to kind of see what we're up to, we're posting stuff all over our Instagram. So head over to it's at How to Film Weddings on Instagram. That's what I was trying to say. Head over there and check it out, and you can see all the fun shenanigans that we are up to this week.
Yeah, and if you're listening to it on Monday, the day we drop, we started the day out today. We rented a movie theater. And we have 3 guest speakers. We got some Chipotle catered for lunch. There's an arcade. There's ices. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then later in the day, we're heading to a mansion where our planner has put on 3 styled shoots. So just content creation, headshots, hanging out, dinner, drinks, fun, parties. All it's great. And you mentioned it, but it's the culmination of a year of Mastermind. And we've been plugging it since December, trying to kind of get you ready if you're listening to this, if you're on the fence or have questions. What is Mastermind by How to Film Weddings? If you go to howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind or listen to last week's episode, we talk all about it, exactly what it is, who it's for. We have a curriculum we walk through for the 12 months. We have guest speakers once a month. We have a private network online where you can, refer one another, and then this in-person event. So if you want to sign up for the 2024 class, we have limited spaces available. It always sells out, so get on that wait list. We'll open up applications on January 29th. So at the end of this month, if we'll have an application process. It's really easy. And Mastermind will begin for 2024 with a retreat in January of 25. And Nick, speaking of 2024, we were talking about, it's the beginning of the year. We're excited about the beginning of the year. We're about to launch our mastermind group. And like I said, the beginning of the year is just a really good time to refocus on what's important for you and your brand. You've been working in your business for so long. You got to step outside of it and look back and say, I want to work on my business. So this episode, we're going to talk about how to get ready for 2024. It's here, but we think that a lot of wedding filmmakers don't take the time. They just keep going, keep pushing the pedal to the metal. And instead of working on their business, they get so stuck in the backlog. So this episode is designed to help you get ready for 2024.
Yeah. Whoever was coined with saying it, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I don't know. Was that Einstein? Maybe. I don't know. He was the one that made it popular. I don't really know, but don't quote me on that, or do, and it'll be really funny. But I think whenever it comes to your business, and I know at the start of every year, people are thinking about the goals that you want to accomplish and the things that you want to do and the places that you want to go and where you want to be as a business. And you maybe haven't been fulfilled with what you have done. You haven't been excited necessarily with where you have been. And so you know that you want to take a different route this year, but you don't take a step back and think about, well, what do I need to do differently? What should I change about my business? What should I approach differently whenever it comes to my business? And so you end up following in this rut that you do the same thing that you did in 23 or the same thing that you did in 22. And so as we're talking about getting ready for this year in 2024, and hopefully you have a lot of weddings booked, and hopefully you're excited about the year, and hopefully you have things that you're looking forward to. But as we are looking forward to 2024, I think where we should start on answering this question, how to get ready, is take a look back at 2023 or maybe even into 2022 and ask yourself, what can I learn from last year? What can I learn from the previous 2 years? And start off by saying, what really, really worked? What were the things where I felt that, yes, this is the type of stuff I want to do, or yes, this is the type of couples I want to work with, or these are the type of edits. However you answer that, what really worked? But then also ask yourself, what didn't work? And where did you fall short? I know one thing that in doing this at the beginning of the year, a couple of years ago, looked at myself and was like, our turnaround times make me sick. It was like, I had it in the contract 5 months or 4 months or something like that. And we were delivering it 3 months and 29 days. And I was like, oh, that drives me absolutely sick. And so I wanted to work out a way to figure out, how can I deliver faster? One of the solutions that came from that is outsourcing some of our edits and outsourcing our stuff so that we could get things back sooner. So, John, as we're thinking about learning from the past, what kind of things do you have to add to that? Where should people look? What do you have to add?
Yeah, I think as we have grown How to Film Weddings and really systemized as much as possible what it takes to be a successful wedding filmmaker, the things that I've looked at is at the end of every year, it's kind of like you're circling back around the mountain and back up, and you're cycling upward every single year and every single season. And at the beginning of every year, I love, when I'm looking at what worked, what didn't work, things like that. I'm focusing on things that like made me happy within. I'm focusing on things that frustrated me. I'm making note of those things, and I'm taking a what worked / what didn't work / what can I learn from the previous year mentality into the next year, or I can just, like you said, expect the same thing next year. And so I'm getting more clear on who it is and what it is that I want to do. And we wanted to kind of give you the permission to determine what you want your year to look like. If you don't do that, if you're listening to our voice and you just say, well, I'll take what I can get, or I'm going to just kind of see what happens, you're playing a defensive position. You're just kind of like, whatever happens, I will react to it, as opposed to an offensive position where you're like, I want to determine my year before it determines my life, before it determines my schedule. And somewhere around 2020 is whenever I really had enough. 2017 through 20, I was going through a big growth phase, and I had rebranded to John Bunn Films and was like, I am not going to book anyone unless they fit this criteria. And I wrote things down, and I determined I'm not going to book people if the groom doesn't care at all about the wedding. I'm not going to book people if they don't have the budget to spend for me, or they don't have any chemistry, or they don't, whatever it is. And I started to determine my year. And so first thing we want to talk about in like determining your year, and Nick, you were talking about this before we hit record, is kind of refocusing your brand and what that looks like for the year.
Yeah. And what we mean by refocusing your brand is, actually we were talking about this a little bit in our mastermind group yesterday, where I brought it up, where I look back on my business and Wild Oak Films, and whenever we launched our new name and our new logo and our website and all of that sort of stuff in 2016, 2017, our ideal couple, our ideal brand, the types of stuff that we wanted to shoot, the type of people we want to work with was what we wanted it to be at that time. But now, as I look at myself, 2023 Wild Oak Films, and I look back 6 years ago, who I want to work with now, the types of weddings that I want to film, the places that I want to go are different than they were 6 years ago. And I think that a lot of us, at least I have fallen into this trap, right? And I'm not going to lump everyone in there. I have fallen into this trap where I spend money to get a website. I spend money for new artwork and branding and logos and all of that sort of stuff. And I get it done and I think it's done. Like it's finished. Like I never need to touch this again because I paid someone to do it. But as you grow as a business, as you evolve as a business, as you evolve as a business owner, as a person, as you get older, if you have life experience, whether it's I was single when I started it and then I got married, or it was just me and my spouse when I started business and now I have 2 kids. Things change in your life. And so you need to refocus your brand to make sure that it's on point with that stuff. And there is nothing wrong like that. That's good development, right? Like if you're the same that you were 5 years ago, like people are like, yeah, we're the same. We never change. Well, like, how are you growing? How are you changing? How are you adapting? How are you being a different business? All that kind of stuff. So we say now is a good time to refocus your brand. And how, again, you're going to do that. Like look back at the last year, look back at the last 2 years, and is how you're portraying yourself as a business on your website, on your social media, on the wedding day, all of that stuff is that an accurate representation of the things that you're doing? So refocusing your brand is a big step in how to get ready for 2024 and even beyond into 5 and 26. Yeah,
I like how you said that. Like life changes and you change as a person. Like I'm I'm still John Bunn, but I'm John Bunn from 2024 now, not 2023. And I've had life experiences. I've been hurt. I've been loved. I've been mad. I've been happy. Whatever. All these different things that have happened to me, and I've, all the books I've read, the people I've met, like all these things have helped me clearly understand more about who I am as a person, and that needs to be reflected within my website, within my social media posts, within everything that I'm doing, so that my brand can be refocused for 2024. And it's really hard, and I'm realizing this as a wedding filmmaker, to focus on these things when you're doing this alone. And that's why we love the How to Film Weddings community. That's why we're pushing so hard for people to connect with us about our mastermind group, because we walk people through these things, and having someone in your corner to help you refocus these things is very important. The next thing I wanted to mention, Nick, and this is a subtle change every year, it seems like, but redefining who your ideal or couples are, or your ideal buyer, or a buyer that you would love to work with. I hate just saying like I have one type of couple or something like that, but this is a time where you can write down who it is you want to work with. You think about, just as an exercise, if you're listening here, that think about your last year. Like, who was your favorite couple that you worked with last year? Like, who was it? And then write down characteristics about the wedding that invigorated you and got you excited about working with them and made you feel fulfilled. Because what fulfills my cup is different than Nick's cup, different than your cup. And so we need to redefine every year our ideal buyers. And that might not be a bride and a groom, or a bride and a bride, or it might be a mother of a bride. It might be planners. It might be photographers. That could be your ideal buyer, really, in deciding, you know what, I really want to lean into these kinds of wedding planners. Okay, that helps me build a strategy to define and determine my year. But if I don't know who I want to work with or for, how am I supposed to get to that spot? We say it a lot in our mastermind group, but you don't win the Super Bowl by accident. You have to put together a plan. Anything, Nick, you want to add about redefining your ideal buyers, couples, before we move on to the next thing?
I like what you said about, one thing that I have taken away from you is one thing that you really focus in on is the mother of the bride. Like, you view the mother of the bride as just as much as of your ideal buyer as, the bride themselves. And I think that that's a good reminder that to think maybe outside of the box a little bit of who your ideal couples are. And then there are, some companies out there that like, my ideal buyer is the wedding planner. And like, that's who I'm trying to sell to. And I'm kind of letting them figure out the couples. And if they're doing it, I'm going to be a part of it, like regardless of who the couple is. So thinking outside of the box a little bit on who your ideal couple is going to be something that's going to help propel you and move you forward in this year.
Hey guys, Austin here from the Creative Cabana, and I get it. You want your dream clients. We all do. As a wedding videographer myself, I know the power that a cohesive brand plays in your business growth. Here at the Creative Cabana, we are a full-service creative team specializing in websites and brands for wedding videographers just like you. From our full custom all-in-one packages to our do-it-yourself templates, we've got options that fit every business at any stage. Now, I know you've poured your heart and soul into your business. It's time to have a brand that causes couples to fall in love with you before they even reach out. Head over to our website, creativecabana.co, and we will show you how to turn price shoppers into your dream clients.
So as we're continuing to talk about, kind of determining your year and thinking about your year, and, you have a brand new couple, the other thing that I want to bring up is committing to yourself, committing to this year before it commits to you. It's really easy right now, or it can be when your backlog is low, or whenever you're thinking about the future of all these plans and all these ideas and all these things that you want to accomplish. I don't know how many times in my life I have woken up on the first day of the month and I thought, this is going to be the month that I am really going to focus on my fitness. This is going to be the month that I am really going to get my budget in order. This is the month I'm really going to do this. And then 4 days passed, 5 days passed, and I don't do it. And I think, well, the whole month is shot. even though I have 25 days left. And so I'll start again next month. Like we kind of do those things. And so I would say make some commitments to yourself as a business owner for this year now, whenever you're not necessarily in the thick of it, whenever it's not the springtime or the summer or the fall, when things are so busy and you can't think of anything else. And so you can look back on the commitments that you have made earlier in the year to help you as you go forward and as you run your business. And so maybe it's we're just going to throw out a few ideas that we thought about, whenever it came to some things that you could commit to. Maybe one of the things that you can commit to is how and what you're delivering with your wedding films. I know in 2018, I want to say, Jen and I decided that we were going to do our version of the doc edits. We actually got this idea from Jay Worsley, where, we call them keepsake edits, but it's like, okay, I'm doing an edit of the getting ready part of the day. I'm doing an edit of the reception part of the day, giving them all the toasts and all the ceremony, as this is something we're going to commit to for 6 months, with the idea of we're going to give this to a whole bunch of people, and then we can then add it as an add-on so that there's, something that people can look at when of like, what is this sort of thing? And so we committed to do that. And there were times in there that I was like, why are we doing this? This is extra work for me and I'm not getting paid for it. And it was frustrating, but I knew that it would pay off eventually. And eventually, a couple of years later, whenever everyone was adding this $1,500 to $2,000 add-on, it was definitely worth it. And so that's one idea that you could do, committing to your deliverables, committing to that experience that you're going to give to your couples. John, what's something else that you would say that someone could commit to?
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about these are kinds of things that if you don't commit to doing them, whenever you get tired, you're not going to want to do it. So one of the things like that I know that I committed to over the last couple of years is like creating specific content for planners and photographers within a week of the wedding. And so that was another thing that I was just like, after a wedding or a rehearsal dinner or a welcome party, I'm creating a reel that's going to be 30 seconds of eye candy and making sure that that is ready for the planner and sent to her or him and saying, this is ready to go for you or the photographer, whatever. So that's another idea, but like committing to the deliverables, committing to what's going to be, the things that you want to do that are extra for the year. Maybe they don't pay you today, but they're going to pay you later. Every couple once I book them, I'm going to send them a bottle of wine that means something to me and a cheese block, or I don't know, like commit to what you're going to be doing to go that extra mile. Another thing that I want to talk about, I don't know, I didn't think I was going to talk about wine and cheese today, but here we are. I don't drink wine and I'm really not, I do like cheese actually. Okay. I like to cut the cheese. Huh? No?
Boo.
Dad jokes.
Boo.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all right, here we go. All right. So the next thing on the list here would be committing to your max bookings, to your numbers, committing to kind of the idea of, I know this year I need to make this much money. I know that I want to charge, this much or whatever, but I know that after 2023, I can't do more than this many weddings. I know that my wife is pregnant and I can't take that much weddings, or I know that I'm traveling already this many times, so I'm not going to travel more than this many times, or like knowing these numbers and these thoughts beforehand are going to help you make decisions whenever things arise during the year. And what we're trying to get you ready for is how you can stand out from other wedding filmmakers and how you can build a sustainable business that you love, that pays you well. And so if you're committed to your max bookings and you want to do 20 for the year and you've already got 18 booked, you got to kind of stick to that. So you're not one of these people that like, whoops, I accidentally booked 38 weddings and now I can't make weddings I want to. I'm backlogged. I can't think about my brand. I don't have time. And you get into that vicious cycle.
Yeah, that's really good. Putting those numbers out there and then sticking with them. Next, the thing that I think that people should really commit to is committing to some sort of package and pricing structure. And, if you believe that your worth is a certain point, or maybe let me start that over. If you are at a place in your book, in your year, as kind of John was talking about a second ago, where you have, like all of my basic needs to live are met. I'm going to be fine. Like, it might be tight. I might not be able to go get that Starbucks drink, a couple of times a week that I want to, but you know that you're going to be okay and you can make it, right? And you're like, you know what? I want something different for myself. And so maybe you're like, okay, for the next couple of months, I need to raise my prices significantly just to see what happens, because I know I'm in a place where things are okay and things are good. And then stick with that for whatever time frame that might be. Okay. And then so that whenever people inquire with you, and then they reach out and they talk to you, and you're going back to like, oh, well, our budget is actually this. Like, I'm sorry, this is my starting rate. All that kind of thing. That's a good idea. But it can also go in the flip side too, is maybe things are lower. Maybe things are not as good as you would like them to be. So maybe you need to consider lowering your prices, or how can you keep it the same but add more value? Maybe you put more stuff in it so that people can see more value in what you are doing, and say, okay, this is what, to make ends meet, this is what my pricing needs to be for the next 2 months, or until I get this amount of bookings or something like that. And also this year, whenever you commit to your pricing, I would urge you all out there to, if bookings seem to be going well and bookings seem to be going good, to say, okay, every third wedding, every fifth wedding, every whatever that you book, I'm going to raise my prices some amount that makes me feel good, so that later on, whenever I come to edit these weddings, I can feel better about that pricing structure. So that's a few things that I wanted to add about committing to your packages and pricing. What do you have anything you want to add, or do you want to keep on trucking on here?
Not really. I think that's great. I mean, if you know how many you want to book, you know how much you want to charge, you know what the deliverables are going to be. I can feel the pressure relieved from my shoulders. It's like, by being like, oh, I'm the one in control of these things. I know my numbers. I'm the one running my business. I'm not just focused on what other wedding filmmakers might think of me. I'm not focused on what John and Nick might think of me. I'm thinking about my brand and my family and my business, whatever it is. And I'm committing to these things now for the year so that I can have a solid foundation. And I think that that's just really important, that you know your boundaries and you set your boundaries and you don't overdo it, because this is my 17th year of doing this. And that's crazy that I'm doing this long and I still enjoy it better than ever. And maybe you're a wedding videographer that's like, I only plan to do this for a few years, or this is just to make extra money or whatever. Maybe this is something that you want to do long time, like for your career. But like I will enjoy this later. I'm grinding now. I'm working. And yeah, you've got to put in extra work and do things. You might have to take weddings that you don't want to or whatever sometimes. But if you have these boundaries set up and you can say, hey, I set my ideal buyer and 8 out of 10 of them this year were right there in the crosshairs of exactly who I want to work with. Well, that's cycling upward. It's not perfect, but at least you know where you're heading. And when you're heading towards the direction of victory in your eyes and success in your eyes, that's when you're going to start feeling more inspired, less burned out. And then that allows you to do things like the last couple of things that we're talking about when it comes to committing in 2024. The first one we wanted to mention was like a social media schedule. Like it or not, you can be somebody that does no social media and still make incredible connections with people and book your schedule out. I think we see so many people online doing well that we feel like, oh, well, we have to kill it with Instagram to be a successful wedding videographer. And I can tell you there's lots of people that don't kill it on social media, but are making lots of money because they are really good at networking or really good at advertising, but like committing to your social media schedule, your networking, and your advertising are 3 things that we would say in 2024 to really look at. And when it comes to social media to start with, maybe, you know, like a lot of people at the gym in January working out hard, like Nick said, you know, you get there and you have a couple of days of good and then a couple of days of bad and then you quit. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to post one time to Instagram a week for the whole year. I'm going to do that. I'm committing to that. Or I just saw like Stanton, our friend Films by Stanton, made a commitment for 20 days straight to do 2 reels per day. And like, he just committed to it and he made his someone accountable to him. And then he stuck to it. And that's one thing that the accountability side of things, you know, listening to this podcast is great. Having your spouse is great, but like having true mentorship and accountability is going to be that thing that pushes you to stay committed. We're just human beings. We get lazy. If we're not committed to something, if it's not on the calendar, if it's not on the schedule, if it's not, you know, who's going to just stop and work on their business every week without something that's a commitment? And that's why we love the things like our mastermind, and we see other people's masterminds, like get committed somewhere when it comes to these kinds of things. I know I was all over the notes, Nick. We're supposed to be talking about social media. I mentioned networking. I'll let you talk about whatever you want to talk about there. It's a new year. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. And it's your pod, as you like to say. So you can do whatever you want.
Is pod bod a thing? Like, should we say we have, instead like of a dad bod, we have a pod bod, which is like just like a spare tire, just because we sit in a. Should we do that? No, we shouldn't. Okay,
you know
what?
I think that's a good clothing line. We're trademarking that right now. That we will you know, market to
pod bod.
Podcaster. Yeah, pod bod. Anyway, so when it comes to social media, yes, have a plan, do something with that. I think that. We've shared this before, and I think we will always share this whenever it comes to whatever kind of marketing, whatever kind of thing that you are doing on social or stuff. If you don't make time for it, it's probably not going to happen how you want it to. So, you know, put it on your schedule. Hey, the first Monday or, you know, every other Thursday, or like put some time on your calendar and say, this is when I am going to really focus on content creation for social media, whatever that might look like, and then stick to it. And then when it comes to networking, you know, maybe you're like, oh, this isn't something that I like to do. And, you know, look up and see if in your area you have networking events. I know that in some of the bigger cities, it's a lot easier. And in some smaller places, they might not have them. But look at what networking events are available and then commit to being a part of them, going to them. Or if there isn't anything, say, okay, once a month, I am going to get together with, I don't know, make a list of people that you want to build a relationship with and say, I'm going to take them out for drinks. I'm going to meet them for coffee. And the whole idea is to just build a relationship with them and really connect with them. And I don't know if I can guarantee, but I think I can say I can guarantee that some good things, if you are a good, genuine person and you care about these people and you connect with them and you pour into them and you let them pour, like good things are going to happen in your business if you continue to network that way. And so that's something that you should really, really commit to. I will say, John, when it comes to committing to things for the year, the best thing that we did for Wild Oak Films until we just got old and tired was same day edits. And Jen and I committed to doing those for an entire year. And I can see that a lot of the success that we had in booking higher price points and stuff was directly related to that. Because we did something like this. We went to a workshop, we got inspired. That was what came out of it. And so it was like, hey, we're going to try this. And we committed to it for a year. And it was one of the best decisions that we made for our business. And, you know, that decision came out of doing some stuff like this, where we're refocusing our brain and focusing and going in the direction that we want to go in. So, John, I think that we're going to kind of wrap this up here just a little bit. Did you have something to add before I?
Well, I wanted to commend you and Jen, because like you said, you got old and tired, but honestly, you did what you needed to do to get to the next step of where you wanted to be. And now people are paying you for some of those things, and you just don't, like, the intensity that you wanted at that time was different for the year 2018 than it is for 2024. And your brand skyrocketed, you know, you're winning awards, you're doing things that are like different now, and you're in a different place. You guys want to shoot less. We've got How to Film Weddings. You've got, like, there's other things, but like if you're out there listening and you're just like, this is my year, I like commit and then don't let anybody stop you. And that's kind of, for me, really important. So I just wanted to add that. I don't know what you were going to do if you're wrapping up the episode.
I was gonna say, maybe some things that people should, consider or think about as we move into 2024.
Yep, I'm here for
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to let you, like, I was trying to segue it and like throw it over to you so that you could take it.
Nice. Well, then I will receive it. Yeah. To kind of wrap things up, we've talked about this in previous years' podcasts, but as you're moving into 2024, a couple of things that we would say to do in this little section, I guess, would be considering investing into yourself. That's kind of, to me, where you're going to, you're going to invest into updating. You're going to look at your website and make sure it's good. You're going to make sure your headshots are good. You're going to make sure that your social media matches. You can archive old posts. You can update your bio. You can make sure that your email signature is great. You can just that little refresh into your brand, updating your promo reel, or just making sure that the work on your website is the work you want to have during booking season. So like updating all of that stuff. And then we can't say it enough how important it is to invest into yourself when it comes to commitments into education. We shamelessly will continue to plug our mastermind group or groups like it because of a few things. And the main thing is the consistent commitment to being able to have like mentorship in your corner and community in your corner, and a consistency of working on your business every week. Imagine 1 hour a week. You know when it's going to happen. You can unplug from your edits. You can unplug from everything and sit and learn and grow with other people, hear their stories, learn from them, learn from people that have been there before. It's different if you're going to the gym just on your own, or if you've hired a personal trainer that's waiting for you at 7 a.m. Like the chances of you showing up to that are going to be way better. You've invested your dollars into it. You've got somebody that's there to coach you that knows what you need to be doing for your specific body type and your specific role in your life right now. And you can start to see results in a much faster pace than you can if you're just trying to wing it and do it on your own. Like if I could talk to myself 5 years into business, I hadn't paid a single person for education. I was winging it and figuring it all on my own. I would say, John of 2007, stop trying to do this on your own. Hire somebody, work with somebody that has been there before, that has the results that you want to have. And if you can look at Nick's work or my work, or you've heard from us, our booking rates or these kinds of things, and you say, I want to learn from those guys, we would highly recommend something like our mastermind group, or committing to going to workshops with different people through the year, or committing to courses or whatever that is. Invest into yourself, because there's never a good time to like invest into education. It's never the right time. It's always, well, if I had the money, I could pay for the education. Well, I don't have the money because I don't have the education that I need to make the money. And so you've got to take that risk on yourself. You got to put that out there and say, I'm going to commit to education this year. I'm going to put a line item in my budget, or I'm going to join the mastermind group, or I'm going to join Jake Weisler's thing, or, Kaylin Rome's thing, or Matt Johnson's thing. We'd love it if you join our thing, but the idea is investing into your own self, your education, because it's not going to show up. Date night doesn't happen at my house unless I put date night on the calendar. And I love my wife. She's my favorite person, but time just goes. And so paying attention, committing to those things, and realizing, these things aren't going to happen unless I do them. I'm not going to win the Super Bowl unless I put in the work. Those are the things that are going to get you so ready for 2024 that by the time January 2025 gets here, you can look back and say, I did what I needed to do this year to get where I wanted to go. Was that good enough for you, Nick?
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay.
And then that fulfillment piece can really add in, because you're just building off of, in 2023 I did this, in 2024 I did this, in 2025 now I'm going to pivot and change and morph and whatever, and this is the direction we're going to go, and you'll be able to kind of look down the mountain whenever you get way up there. So we really hope that this episode was helpful, just to kind of get you to think a little bit about how it is that you can move forward into 2024 and the things that you can get ready for. And you're doing that again by looking back and looking forward and committing to yourself and investing in yourself. Those are really the main huge takeaways that we have for you. So again, one more time, we're going to push our mastermind group, which we are opening up applications on January 29th. And if you would like to jump on that wait list so you can be notified as soon as we open the doors. And this year we are limiting the spots to 35. We are limiting the class size. That's some feedback that we got, is we want some more smaller classes. So we are doing that this year. And so we'll have 35 spots. So head over to howtofilmweddings.com/mastermind. And there you can get on the wait list, and we will let you know as soon as we open up those applications. John, it is great to hang out with you today. Listeners, thank you for tuning in again. If you want to see what we're up to in Scottsdale at our retreat, just check it out at How to Film Weddings on Instagram. I think I kind of did that weird, and I'm just going to end it right now. Until next time, we'll see ya.
See ya. Have fun editing.
Do I need to do that over again? No, that's fine.
I don't know.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's great.